Welcome to the Manx Theatre Podcast.
Come on to the theatre.
Hello, and welcome back to episode 33 of the Manx Theatre Podcast with me, Neil Callin. Thank you to everyone who's listened to our previous episodes. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome along and thanks for joining us. In this podcast, we like to try and keep you up to date with what's going on in theatre on the Isle of Man and chat to the cast and creatives of upcoming shows to find out a little bit more about the shows and the people behind them.
Coming up on this week's podcast.
I chat with a few members of the cast of Parodos Theatre Company's debut production of Much Ado About Nothing, which is playing at the King's Court Theatre from the 7th to the 9th of April. You can still listen to all of our previous episodes through all the usual podcast outlets and at manxradio.com/podcasts. Whilst you're there, make sure to subscribe, give us a like, rate, and leave a little review and share with all your friends. Make sure you keep up to date with what's going on between episodes by following Manx Theatre Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram and at Manx Theatre Pod on Twitter. Well, it's been quite busy in recent weeks with 3 episodes dedicated to the Manx Operatic Society's production of Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. It was a tough run for the Manx Ops as COVID ran rampage through the cast during Tech Week, which saw around 20 members of the cast, crew and orchestra, including 5 out of the 9 principals, struck down with just a few days until opening night. Fortunately, with the help of the Villa Gaiety staff, they were able to push the show back a week. But with other commitments at the Gaiety, this meant that the run also reduced from 7 shows to just 5. However, the support from the great Manx public saw standing ovations and full houses almost every night. With the cancellation of Ghost in 2020 less than a week before opening night, and lockdowns in 2021 preventing their plans for a number of A Night at the Musicals concerts, this was their first production since 2019's Les Mis, and something the committee were determined to produce. We look forward to their return in 2023 with Curtains, the musical murder mystery by Candor and Ebb, when hopefully COVID will be a thing of the past. Right, down to business. Joining me today on the podcast from Parodos Theatre Company are producer and performer Charlie Williams, lead performers Peter Wicks and Lisa Smith. Charlie, Peter and Lisa, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Hey.
So we're only 2 or 3 weeks away now from the show itself.
Yeah, 2 weeks till get-in and 3 weeks till the show, so it's...
Blimey.
Yeah.
Exciting and nervous times at the same in equal measure, yeah.
That's right.
So, Charlie, last time you were on was back in June last year,
Yep.
when you and Alex came in to launch Parodos, and
Indeed.
and the idea of doing Much Ado About Nothing. How's things moved on since then?
Well, we've actually managed to put it together, which I think is
It's good, yeah.
We've been good on our word. It's been going really well. We've put together, through the if I can say the dreaded C word that is COVID, keeping an eye on that, and I know many shows have found it difficult through that period of time. But I think that now we're coming out the back end of it. We've really done well to put together a stellar cast, if I may say so, including the 2 esteemed actors to my left, and we've been very, very happy with what we've managed to do to date, and everything that we wanted to achieve so far has come to fruition. So it's going great guns,
And it's meeting your initial vision, yeah?
Yes, it is. Yes, I mean, we have the excellent David Dawson, who is directing the show, who has his own wonderful and experienced vision, which we are very much deferring to him for.
Yeah.
But in terms of what Alex and I had in mind, we've had no problems. It's been exactly what we wanted to do, and the way it's been coming together is exactly what we were thinking of.
I mean, if it's anything like his vision for Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's going to be amazing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I think he's, I think it was very good for us that he'd done that to get strides, because he'd done great stuff before as well, and then he's brought a real fantastic flair to the show for us, and is just great at being very clear, I think, in what he wants, and allowing the actors to move in that space, so to speak, but also keep it on rails.
Yeah, he's wonderful at bringing these things together. I just love him as a director, having been directed by him in Blood Brothers in 2019. He comes straight into the first rehearsal knowing exactly what he wants you to do, how he wants you to enter, where he wants you to stand and look, and I'd like you to do this. And it's wonderful having a guide like that. And then, as you go through the rehearsals and develop the characters, he has these wonderful ideas for tweaking things and just bringing it all out.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. So I'm really pleased to be working with him again.
Brilliant. So, Peter,
Hey.
you're someone that's new to me. I've never met you before.
No, it's a bit spooky, isn't it? I've just kind of turned up out of nowhere.
So are you new to the Manx scene, or are you involved further afield and have got involved because you know Charlie and Alex, or?
I'm completely new to the Manx scene.
Right.
I moved back to the Isle of Man. I think it was in 2018, but I lived here until I think about 2007. And in that time, I was working in London as an actor.
Uh-huh.
So I've come back here, and I've not really done anything for a couple of years. I kind of thought, I've left it behind.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore. But then it was really weird. I kind of saw, I think it was on Twitter, I saw a post from Parodos just kind of announcing that they were starting up.
Yeah.
And I thought about sending an email. And bizarrely enough, at that very moment, I got this message from David Dawson, who I've known since school. So we went to school together. And he just said, would you like to, would you be interested in being involved? And I kind of ummed and ahed for weeks and weeks, just going, should I, shouldn't I? I don't know. I don't know if I can still do it. It's kind of, I kind of had that fear, just thinking, I've done that. I've done it all now. I came to the Isle of Man for the nice, quiet, easy Isle of Man life.
Yeah.
But no, I just went, hey, it's much ado about nothing. I've always wanted to do it. I just thought, hey, it's Benedict.
Yeah.
And I get to play around with these amazing, just awesome creatives and cast members. So yeah, it kind of just happened.
Brilliant. So were you a Balcomine boy then?
I was a Bala boy. Yeah.
Were you in Bouncers then with Dorsey and Ted?
I wasn't. No. I barely. That's the thing. It's so weird. I barely did anything at school. I kind of got kicked towards doing a couple of things, like sort of a couple of the funny little musicals they did. But I sort of did GCSE, then I did A-level, so I was doing A-level drama with Dorsey. And it was kind of from that point on, with the teachers at Bala, they're just amazing. The drama department is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so good. But I never really thought about being an actor. It was the weirdest thing until it kind of came time to choosing whether to go to uni or go to drama school, and I kind of applied to a few drama schools just because I thought, hey, some people have said I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
It's that kind of strange thing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a vet for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But that didn't really happen. So I like to pretend to be other things instead.
Pretend to be a vet.
Yeah, pretend to be a vet. That's the only reason I ever went to uni in the first place. I just thought, if I can pretend to be a vet at the end of this, that's it. That's
Perfect.
the one thing I want to do. But yeah, it was kind of all did start at Bala, but in a very kind of subversive way. I had teachers pushing me to do drama, and kind of worked out in the end.
So which drama school did you go to?
I didn't actually. I applied to a couple of drama schools, and again I had this weird freak out. I just thought, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to actually come out of drama school and be able to find a job, be able to find work in this? So I thought, well, I'll go to uni. I'll try uni.
Yeah.
I'll study drama alongside something else. So I studied it alongside English language, because I've always kind of loved linguistics, and that's kind of my way in. Because drama, it's all about storytelling, and I love language, the power of language. So I thought, that'll give me a backup. Maybe, I'm sure people have jobs with an English degree. Does that work? I don't. But so I went to Kingston University, and from then on, I kind of started falling into work. I was incredibly lucky. I managed to go to the Edinburgh Festival with my university. I had a couple of my first professional theatre roles during my final year, and it was just kind of through tutors there and through the people I was working with who managed to go off and form theatre companies, start producing their own work, and I just kind of wormed my way in, and kind of worked from there.
Brilliant. Well, Lisa, now you're a well-known face for several years now on the Manx theatre scene, both with the Service Players and a few other societies as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I started with Service Players in year 2000.
Gosh.
Someone sent an email around Rawlinson Alliance at the time where I was working, saying we need bodies for this play. So a couple of friends and I decided to go along and did fur coat and no knickers.
Look of shock on your daughter's face there behind you.
And and started from there. And then the next thing I went for was Helene Hant for 84 Charing Cross Road, and got that, and away I went, and I just loved it. Obviously, ever since. I never really thought about it at school. I think I did a Little Shop of Horrors, and maybe played buttons in primary school, but it was just not something I ever thought about. I came to it as an adult, and just absolutely, obviously, I adore it. And when I heard Charlie and Alex do the podcast last summer, and saying that you were going to do Much Ado About Nothing, oh my goodness, I was so excited, because I studied it at not university, at A level, and I've just wanted to be Beatrice ever since. I've always loved the play, and I couldn't believe it when I heard that they were going to be putting that on. So.
Shakespeare is an itch that many actors want to scratch at some point, isn't it?
That's right, and we haven't had a chance really. I mean, we have people coming over here occasionally to do with Shakespeare, but we haven't had an all-island play for 20 years. It was 2002 when we did The Winter's Tale.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the last time that I'd seen an on-island company do any Shakespeare.
That's it.
Yeah,
and that was wonderful. So hopefully it'll be more often than once every 20 years.
Yeah.
I think that
look at me across the room. Neil looks at me. Eyebrows. That's the plan. Hopefully,
that's the plan. Yeah. So anyway, for the people who don't know anything about Much Ado About Nothing, what can you tell us about the story without obviously giving away too many spoilers? Even though obviously the story has been around for a while.
Yes. Well, I think that and jump in if there's anything I miss here. It's always difficult to try and give speedy abridged versions, and you sometimes miss out a big chunk. But effectively, it boils down to there is Lisa and Peter's characters are the linchpin to the entire piece. That Much Ado is often referred to as Benedict and Beatrice, as a secondary name, and it's their battle of wits, as it's called, and then their eventual sorting out of that battle of wits.
It's not an unusual love story.
Exactly. Yes, it's not the usual love story. It's almost the original rom-com in a certain way. In a lot of ways. But they are Beatrice is the niece of a gentleman called Leonato, and Benedict I play Don Pedro, and Benedict is one of Don Pedro's chums, if we say that, who were soldiers, and Don Pedro and his soldier pals return from war. Leonato says, you're friends of mine, come and stay at my house. And whilst they're there, as the normal way, people are all mixing together, and love blossoms. And Benedict and Beatrice are, when the show starts, they're not exactly the best of friends, I think is the best way to say it. But they, throughout the play, a situation is contrived where my character tries to get them both to overcome their differences, because everybody sees that really underneath there is something there between them. Whilst that's going on, my errant brother, Don John, decides to try and undermine another wedding that's supposed to happen between Claudia, who's played by the excellent Lorcan O'Mahony, and Hero, played by Dandy Dancox, and effectively makes out that Hero is unfaithful, and it all goes a little bit wrong for them in the middle of the play. And it's how that works out, but I think that's a very abridged version.
That is very
yes,
I like it. Rom-com.
Yes, exactly. It's really a standard rom-com, but it's a very accessible play, I think, to people, especially for people who haven't seen Shakespeare or who think, Shakespeare's not really for me. It's quite dull, and I don't really understand it. Much Ado's not one of it's not one of his difficult ones that you really have to really need a concentration, and it's not an academic review. This is a play that's meant to be enjoyed. It's quite light-hearted, and it's one that it's funny, and it's one that a lot of people, I think, know, and if they know it, they should come along and they'll enjoy it. And if they don't know it, it's one to really start understanding Shakespeare and seeing Shakespeare rather than just on the page.
Yeah, with Shakespeare, there's three sort of real sort of brackets that they fall into. There's the comedies, there's the tragedies, and the histories. But this is firmly one of the comedies.
Yes, it is. No, there's nothing particularly tragic or historical happened to it. But yes, it's definitely in the comedy.
It's just fun, frothy,
it is
just fizzing. It really crackles with energy as
Lovely
well.
bits of mistaken identity.
Yes. The classic Shakespeare jokes.
Throw a masquerade ball there in the middle as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone in masks.
Have a little dance as well. We have a jig, don't we?
Dance.
Yes,
We're really good at that.
We've got a lot of horrible insults that we throw at each other, which is great.
Yes.
I mean, that's another thing as well. I mean, one of these things, and there's a lot of them that comes out of this show as well. Some of the most famous insults are actually being created by Shakespeare in a lot of his plays. And some of the best ones do actually come from Much Ado About Nothing.
I've I've got a calendar on my desk at the moment, which is just Shakespearean insults that somebody gave me at Christmas. It's just every day I get it in some horrendous line from a play. Oh, that's nice. I'll keep that one. I might use that one in an email.
Just the passive-aggressive sign-off at the end.
Yes, exactly.
Or maybe not quite so passive. Okay, so Peter, then, over the years, then, in the roles that you have played, what would you say is your favourite role?
Favourite role? This is very tricky. I've played so many strange and horrible characters.
But those are often the best ones, aren't they?
I'm often the villain, I never get anything nice. I never get, I started to get kind of some nice roles towards the end of my time in London. But for most of the time, it was kind of murderers and psychopaths and really just bad people.
You are a little dodgy looking.
I know. That's the thing. And it's even worse now. Like, I've got no hair now. Back then, I had hair.
And you have
I've got an evil,
villain
twirly moustache. So it shouldn't be surprising. But my favourite, one I kind of really I wanted to play for years just because I was such a fanboy. It was Sherlock Holmes. I was kind of probably the most unlikely Sherlock Holmes, but I did a tour of Hound of the Baskervilles.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of coveted the role of Sherlock Holmes for so long. I was just auditioning and emailing them for it, just going, come on, just let me in. I think they wanted me to play John Watson for a bit as well. And I wore them down until they let me play Sherlock Holmes. But we did this lovely little tour that started off in the gardens of Hever Castle, which is I think it was Anne Boleyn's former residence. So we did it there, and then we kind of did a short little tour around the south of England. So we did Trinity Theatre, and we did one in Guildford, kind of things like that. But it was Sherlock Holmes, and it was my absolute dream just to play him. So, there
was a production done here about 10 or 12 years ago of The Hound of Baskervilles.
At Peel Castle.
It was fantastic.
Oh, it was great.
It was a bit of a like Parodos Theatre. So you started up in Marketplace and they had a bit of a scene there. Then you walked down and you joined them in the castle, followed them around a few places.
That's
they
really
had
cool.
There's the lamp out on the moor, and there was someone halfway up Peel Hill with the lamp. It's like, oh, this is brilliant. Like, the hairs on my arms just going on end. I'm just thinking about it. It was fantastic.
Absolutely stupendous. It was wonderful.
Great. Yeah, it sounds a lot better than my version, which I hope nobody's listening from it. But we had a kind of, it was like a Muppet as the Hound, which kind of at one point just appeared from behind this fireplace, which was amazing, very scary, absolutely terrifying. This Muppet with glowing green eyes. At one point, I had to climb a little rock, a tor, which was actually made out of duvets. Which were pulled together with safety pins, which was actually terrifying. I thought I was going to just tumble every night, but that sounds much better. A promenade one around Peel Castle with the Molly Do and Resident.
It was dark as well, wasn't it? It got cold, so then I mean the Hound itself may have been a Muppet itself because it was dark. We couldn't really see.
That's it. That's it's all about the lighting.
Yeah. What about you, Lisa? What was your favourite role that you've played?
I'm just sitting here listening to Peter talking and trying and keep remembering different roles. It's so hard to pick one. I loved playing Abigail in The Crucible, but that wasn't my favourite play, although it was directed by the wonderful Michael Hoy. I loved playing Lady Croom in Arcadia, in Tom Stoppard's Arcadia. She was just so feisty and kind of spiky and sexy, and she was really fantastic. I just loved doing Sean Sternick's Marry Me, which we toured around the island and then we made a film of.
Yes, that was with Tom Kane, wasn't it?
Just me and Tom Kane, just a psychotic bride with a gun. That was really good fun, that one.
Toby tells an interesting story like that as well, actually. Speaking of which, congratulations on your recent marriage.
Thank you very much. Yes, lots of people will know me as Lisa Crichton.
But now you're Lisa Smith.
Now I'm Lisa Smith.
You've also, not only just performing, but you also direct and you write yourself as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. I've done a fair measure of writing, directing, producing, all that kind of stuff over the years.
Quite a bit of success at the One Act Festival as well.
Yes.
In fact, didn't you win an award at this year's One Act Festival?
Yes, I did. I won Best Actress, so that was nice.
Only the best at Parodos Theatre.
Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Was that one that you wrote yourself as well?
No, actually, that was a Daphne Kane play.
Oh yes,
yes. She wrote a dozen years ago, I think. I remember us doing a reading of it ages ago, and it just occurred to me, sort of last autumn, that we should do a Christmassy type play or an evening of plays. So
Yeah.
so we did Daphne's, and then we did one of mine as well.
That's where I was getting confused.
Yeah. So we did Daphne's, which was called the Nativity Play, at the One Act Festival, because that was much more festival worthy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the other one was Christmas Quiz, wasn't it?
The Christmas Quiz, which was just a bit of froth, and it was just silliness, really. Everyone likes everyone likes a quiz, don't they? A pub quiz.
Yeah.
So I just quickly put together a little play around a pub quiz at Christmas, and because there's a little bit of a sad ending of Daphne in Daphne's play, and I didn't want people going home and slitting their wrists. So let's do something funny in the second half. But festivals, adjudicators love all that stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
But I think we got best dramatic moment for that end bit as well.
Oh, excellent.
So they love all that.
Brilliant.
You're listening to the Manx Theatre Podcast with Neil Callin.
So okay, this is one of our fun questions I always like to ask. This is our gender swap question. Quite often, it's an easier question for the ladies than it is
why.
for the gender.
I wonder why.
We don't have deeper issues here.
We're still trying to find out who did this. So
But obviously these days, though, there are more and more shows coming out that have got good, strong female leads. And also, I spoke with this about with Gemma Varnum on the last episode, how just the industry is changing the way that it looks at things now, and it is switching the roles around. Like with a recent production of Company, Bobby became female. I mean, there are many productions now of Hamlet with Maxine Peake, where she's played Hamlet instead, and they're switching the whole story around the other way and changing around the characters. So pretty much everything's open these days. Yeah. So, which part would you most like to play of the opposite gender? Lisa, I guess you're ready to go first.
Yes, I have thought. It was one of those things that occurred to me in the middle of the night. I would play Cyrano de Bergerac.
Ooh.
Yes, I watched James McAvoy in the role probably a couple of years ago. It's just wonderful. I mean, I love the role. It's one I studied at A-level of French literature, and I just always loved that character. I mean, he's witty and clever and kind, and he's just brilliant. I'd love to do that.
I think probably everyone's first introduction to that probably is the 1990s film Roxanne, with Steve Martin.
With his
fantastic one.
nose.
In fact, I think there's a production out or a new film of it out now.
There is, with Tyrion Lannister. What's his name?
Peter.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Yes.
And it's not the big nose; it's the fact that he's a little
he's a
person.
dwarf. Yes.
Yeah. So that looks really interesting.
Yeah.
What a character! I think he's just. I'd love to do all that. A bit of fighting. He's an excellent fighter as well.
Yeah.
He's not just cool and clever. He's just he's super cool.
Sharp with his words and his sword.
That's right.
Yeah. Peter, how about you?
Well, I had a long think about this because I don't think I shouldn't be taking any roles away from women. I just shouldn't be. I shouldn't be having my own roles anyway as a man. I should not be doing any of that. But I did hit upon one. I think I would make a killer Miss Marple.
Ooh.
You know what? That's all I've got. It's Miss Marple or nothing.
Detective theme going here, isn't
Absolutely,
there?
just
Sherlock
all
Holmes,
detectives.
Miss Marple.
I like finding things out. I like discovering
You're a
things.
nosy
I'm a
person.
nosy person. I love murder. So yeah, it's Miss Marple. I had to think, and there's so look. Women should have every single role in every single play. I'm just so happy we're doing Much Ado, which has one of Shakespeare's greatest female characters in, and Lisa. She's just so amazing as Beatrice, which is wonderful. But I'm not going to take that. Maybe I'll be Beatrice as well. Actually, I'm taking Beatrice.
I could actually
Should we
play
swap?
Benedict.
Can we do that?
We'll just do a performance where you just play the part.
We'll do one of the
where we
shows.
swap.
We'll just swap them around.
Yes, please. So yeah, Miss Marple or Beatrice.
Let's
Thank
see you in my dress.
I'd love to. I'd love to do that. That'd be great.
Okay. But just looking at the cast list that you've got here, I mean, there are some fantastic and some well-known players here. Obviously, there's yourself, Lisa, and Peter, and as Charlie mentioned earlier, we've got Lorcan O'Mahony playing Claudio and Dandy Dancock's playing Hero. Charlie, you're taking on Don Pedro.
Yeah.
We have Dave Shaw playing Leonato, and John Walker playing your horrendous brother, Don John.
Indeed.
He's very
The
good at
villain.
being
He is a
Don.
good villain.
Yes. And Sharon Walker as Margaret. Some fella called Toby Smith playing Baraccio.
Yes.
Always like that with a bit of a Baraccio. Tony Eccles, fantastic Tony Eccles playing Dogberry, and Sam Turk as Conrad.
Yeah, Sconrad or Conrad. I think it's Conrad we're going with.
And then looking further down the list, we've got Ben Gale, we've got Howard Kane, Kelly Firth, Chris Jagus, Oliver Sykes, and Andrew Dayton filling up the rest of the smaller parts.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic cast. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, we were really happy with basically everybody we went to first time said yes.
Yeah.
I think, as you say, people want to have a go at Shakespeare, they want to see something different. And what's really nice about this cast is it's a real cross-section of people who would normally do musicals and people who would normally do straight dramatic pieces, and everyone is coming at it with the same gusto, and everyone's been brilliant. I don't really need to be in it, to be honest. Some scenes I'm just stood there watching like Lisa and Peter go at each other. I'm going, oh, this is great, and then I forget I'm actually supposed to be in the scene.
We have lines here.
David's there going, please act, Charlie. Please do some acting now. But no, everyone's brilliant.
Brilliant. I mean, how's the lines come? Has it been easy for you, or is it something that you've really had to work with on the it's not so much iambic pentameter, really, is it?
It's not. We speak almost completely in prose, don't we?
Yeah,
we do.
And it is easier to learn when it's iambic pentameter.
Yeah.
So much easier. I do have maybe 8 lines of verse, and that again the rhythm and the rhyme really helps you to learn it. So yes, it's not been the easiest thing in the world. I've had to record and listening to, and people will see me driving around the island talking to myself anyway, even if I'm not learning lines. But I'll be listening to my lines and talking along to them. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Repetition.
Yeah.
But there are some great monologues in there as well, and Benedict's is one of them as well. I did that for a drama school audition many years ago. I do much wonder.
It's such a lot of fun.
I totally ripped my performance off from Kenneth Branagh though from his film.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's all right. You can definitely just take from Ken.
Ken's not a bad one to use.
He's fine. He'll go far.
Yeah, I think he'll do quite well.
Yeah.
No, it has been. I think the learning the lines has been the biggest thing for people with this, because it's not that the language is so massively foreign. There's large portions of it that's very easily understood. It's just because where there are older lines, you can't slip in your own.
It's more difficult to paraphrase
because it changes the meaning of the sentence or of the verse. So that's been the main thing, and it means that it's everybody has said that but it's been a challenge that everybody's taken grab with both hands, and everybody's basically completely off book now. And is we're all getting in the space, and I'm starting to now. I'm worried I'm going to start speaking in Shakespearean English one day in just general life.
Forsooth.
Yes, indeed. But it's just a new challenge for people, and I think that's what people wanted. That's what the actors wanted, and they're really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that one with having just done Sweeney Todd with the Sondheim. That everything's in there in a reason, and there's a pattern and the thing. And if you try and stray anyway from that, you can't get back to it. Right? It's really a struggle. Getting close then to costumes. Have we got costumes yet?
We have got costumes. Hopefully soon. We've had like a whole photo shoot like Vogue. So we're hopefully going to soon have, in the next week or so, some photos will start appearing on social media.
Brilliant.
Kelly Firth, who is in the show herself as Ursula, is also a wonderful wizard with technology.
She's
been doing
fantastic.
a lot of our marketing bits and pieces, and she's put together some great bits with the photographs. So people will start seeing glimpses of what the costumes are, and those are provided by the wonderful Judith Fullerton, who is involved in so many shows on the island.
Yes.
She did Hunchback. She was on
Sweeney Todd.
She was on Sweeney Todd. Yeah, I think basically Judith's now just largely the go-to person. And so we can't just had to give her the remit and say, this is our sort of idea. We're doing quite classic, but not so. And then she just went, this is what I've got, and we went, that's perfect, great. So they are, and I think everyone looks rather dashing and
definitely
beautiful in their
Great
costumes. I think
costumes.
I'm going to try and keep mine. I think.
Yeah. So is it set period then, or have you made it a little bit more contemporary?
No, it's not. We've not done anything too crazy with it. So we've kept it because we wanted to do it in a way, something that would be familiar to the audience. So we wanted to keep it reasonable. We've not gone completely classic. There's not massive ruffs and really tight tights or anything like that. But it is probably more, if you've seen the Ken Branagh film, the 1993 I think it is film, it's kind of in that vein. So it's reasonably classic, but it's also quite relaxed at the same time.
It's Italy. It's warm. You don't want tights and ruffs.
No, it's not. No. So it's we've the men have all got some rather dashing waistcoats and
lovely waistcoats.
Yeah,
great belts.
Good
swords as well.
The ladies have got beautiful dresses. So it's all it's all quite nice and classic, really.
Okay, with that in mind then, what are the best and worst costumes that you've had to wear over the years? I'm sure Peter's laughing, so I'm sure he's probably got some corkers there. So go on then, Peter, you go first.
I've already thought of my worst costume. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I did a bit of work for a children's theatre company for a couple of years. That's
just immediately I know this is going to be something excellent.
Immediately sounds low budget.
So. It's going to be absolute. They were a great company. They're such a brilliant company. But we had this job. I think it was for Staines Council, and it was a kind of Christmas walk around Staines, which already sounds incredibly appealing.
Immediately, I'm picturing Ali G.
Absolutely. So I was Ali G. No,
Mankini.
Yeah, just my man.
That's the wrong
That would be good though. Christmas mankini.
Some holly.
No, I had to for the start of the walk. I had to stand by a roundabout in the middle of Staines in the rain, and it was just grotesque. But I was wearing a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer onesie. And with this really rubbish like red nose just stuck on my face with a bit of flimsy elastic, and I was standing there just waiting for the tour to come through for most of it. So when they came through, I was chatting for about 2 minutes, and then they would go, and that was me done. But I was standing there for about half an hour waiting, and various old gents who had probably been in the pub quite early, were coming up and having a chat with me, thinking I needed help. So yeah, I think that's definitely it. This tatty old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer onesie was in the cold and the rain.
Nice.
It was good.
So that's the worst one, yeah?
That's the worst one, I think, yeah.
Lisa?
I had lots of wonderful costumes over the years, but nothing that really stands out apart from I played an act bot in Comic Potential in such a long time ago, 2001. So I was in my early 20s, which is a good thing because this particular outfit that I remember was just a transparent bag. It was just a bag. Because I'd been stolen from my studio and by the person that was in love with me, and they were trying to get me out of my little nurse's costume that I'd worn from my soap opera days, and so they were trying to put me in. And I'd gone to a clothes shop and thought that this bag that went on, that clothes came in, was an outfit that was wonderful. So I come on stage just wearing a little transparent bag over not much, and so just a transparent little piece of plastic.
Can I ask a question? What is an act bot, Lisa?
Well, I think it's almost self-explanatory. It's a robot that is just created for acting purposes, for the purpose of long-running series. They don't have to employ, in this Alan Ayckbourn comedy, they don't have to employ actors anymore. They just have act bots.
Gotcha. Okay, like Steve McFadden or Phil Mitchell in EastEnders, who is also a robot.
Possibly, yes.
I think he is. He's a robot.
Apparently so. Yeah. Okay, Pid, what about the best costume that you've had?
Best costume. I was in a show a couple of years ago called The Awkward Ghost, which was about a bloke who lived in an apartment on his own. He didn't realise he had 4 ghosts living around him. It was written by this amazing comic writer called David K. Barnes. And there's one scene in it where I had to go to bed wearing very little. So what I actually had on as I took off the dressing gown was a pair of boxer shorts which had a chili pepper on the front area, wearing sunglasses, and I think on the back of the boxers it said hot stuff. So I was just standing there for about a good 10 minutes. I was wearing just these boxer shorts with a sunglasses wearing chili pepper on the front, and that was absolutely the best costume I've ever got to wear.
Brilliant.
Thank you. I feel like we've missed a trick with this one.
Yeah, I think I've still got them.
All right, well, there you go.
I can bring
last minute costume change for Benedict.
Indeed, yeah.
Lisa, is there a best one for you?
No, that was my best and worst.
That's often the case. I mean, we had people in before, and I think Lorcan, we had him on a previous one, and when we did Spamalot back in 2019, there was one number that was set at the Camelot YMCA, and it was Lancelot's big coming out number, and myself and Lorcan and a couple of others were in these skin tight rainbow leggings and lycra top with fluffy big pink boots and a studded hat. It was wonderful and horrendous at the same time.
I'm picturing it right now. I love it.
Good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and Ian as well, Ian Dixon, who played Shrek. He said the costume was just amazing, but at the same time, because there's so many layers and the padding and the makeup, and it was just, the sweat inside was horrendous, but, it was fantastic. It's amazing how many times people come on and actually, the best and worst costume is actually the same one.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Manx Theatre Podcast.
Okay, so I think now is probably the time where you all get a little bit nervous and we move over to what is becoming quite a popular part of the show, which is the how much do you know about the show that you're doing. So this is my little Much Ado About Nothing quiz. There are 10 questions. Just make sure I had written 10. There are 10 questions. Some are really easy. Some might be a little bit more tricky. And some might depend on how much attention you've been paying during your rehearsals.
So much.
I have really set myself up over by saying I studied at A-level as well.
Yeah. Walk in the park. It'll be fine.
Okay, first question. Really easy. And if you don't get this one, I think you probably need to leave the building. Who wrote Much Ado About Nothing?
Who was it? Charlie, do you know?
I think it was me, wasn't it?
I think it was you.
Yeah, I don't know. It was, of course, Mr. William Shakespeare.
Correct.
Him.
Well done. You can all stay within the production.
Thank you.
Yes, excellent.
You can do the remaining questions.
Okay, question 2. Where is it set?
Are we allowed to say Messina?
Yes.
That is. Yes. It is Messina.
Yes, it is, yes.
Phew.
Yes.
Oh, we say it enough. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Messina.
Which is in Italy.
Yes.
Whereabouts?
Sicily.
Sicily.
isn't it?
There we go.
Sicily.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Sicily?
It's a coastal town.
This has completely changed
I mean, obviously,
my performance.
we won't. It would be difficult to replicate the heat, I think, but we'll try.
Get some heaters at the side.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, question 3 then. The first production was performed around 1598, but which company performed it?
Was it the Lord Chamberlain's Men or something?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
Good stuff.
Well done, Charlie.
Okay, all right so far, so that's good. Question 4. There have been many adaptations on film, but the 1993 movie version, directed by Kenneth Branagh, is probably one of the most famous ones. Who played Don John and Don Pedro?
Oh, I know this. Don Pedro was Denzel Washington.
Indeed.
And
Don
John
John
was
was
Keanu Reeves.
It was
Hilarious.
Who'd have thought
Great.
Keanu Reeves in Shakespeare?
It's a beautiful
Wow.
I
performance.
think
Yes,
he got a
like
bit
two
of
lines.
stick, didn't he, for that?
He
Because
did.
he was doing... Denzel just did his own accent,
Yeah,
but Keanu
yeah.
kind of did a bit of an English
He
twang
did.
on it.
He was
and I
doing
think-
something. He was
Yeah.
definitely attempting something.
Yeah, he was trying to do it a
Bless
bit.
it.
I thought he did quite... I quite
Yeah,
enjoyed
it was
it.
good. Yeah,
I enjoyed
it was
it.
all right.
Similar to his Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another Keanu
Yes, that was
classic.
another one I think you got.
Yeah.
But I mean, John Wick, he's great in John Wick.
Yeah.
Yes. Always forgiven
Yes.
for John Wick. Yeah.
Okay, question 5. Now this one might be better suited for Peter.
Oh, no.
Name 3 attributes that Benedict is looking for in a woman.
Yes, I know this. Okay, so she's got to be fair. She's got to be, good looking.
Well, you won't look
fair.
on her.
I won't look on her. She's got to be wise, or no thanks, no way. She's got to be virtuous. Virtuous.
Or
That's
I'll
such an
none.
important. Or I'll none. I'll never cheapen her. There you go. Fair, virtuous, and the other one I said, which was wise.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
You could also have rich, virtuous,
Oh, yes.
mild, noble, of good discourse, and an excellent musician.
An excellent
Yes.
musician is.
He
the
doesn't
most
want for
important
much,
one.
really.
No,
I think
no,
it's
no, that's- look,
Not fun.
you've got
It's
it.
not settling, are you?
And for bonus point, what colour hair?
What colour? God decides.
Pleases God.
What pleases God?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine.
Whatever colour pleases God.
Yeah.
Who is the father of Hero?
That is
Leonardo.
indeed.
Great. Full house so far, people.
This is going all right.
What is the name of Balthazar's song?
Sign no more.
Sign no more.
Sign no more,
Sign no
yeah.
more.
This is going really well.
And do you have music for that as well? I mean,
We will have
Have you
that.
had-
That will be sat. Yes, that we will.
have you had to make up the tune for it, or is it?
There's
or is there a-
different versions. We found that no one's really settled on like this is the tune.
Yeah.
Maybe we should write it and then copyright it and put it out
Yes.
as a single. But I think that so there's different versions. So we're playing around with it, but we should be, all being fingers crossed and touching wood, should be played live.
Yeah,
in
marvellous.
the show as well. So there's actually a free concert, so people should come for that as well.
As well as us being really accurate with our trivia knowledge.
Indeed.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 8. Who, whilst disguised at the masquerade ball, woos Hero on behalf of Claudio?
Oh, that's me, isn't it?
That's you,
That's
Sean.
me, Don
Yeah.
Pedro.
Correct. Right, question number 9. # spoiler.
Oh.
As the villain of the piece, the illegitimate brother of Don Pedro, Don John, seeks to ruin the wedding of Claudio and Hero by telling him she is disloyal and arranges for Claudio to witness Hero seemingly in a romantic embrace with who?
With Mr. Smith.
Indeed.
Baraccio.
Baraccio.
Correct.
Indeed.
And then the final question then. What is, or was, Benedict's nickname for Beatrice?
Oh, we know this. You know this. Yes.
Lady Disdain. Is it Lady Disdain?
Lady Tongue.
Lady Tongue.
Oh, yeah, you call it.
Oh.
You say that at another
I
point.
do say Lady Tongue. Oh.
9 out of 10. Oh, almost a full house.
Almost a full house.
I got Lady. I think that's
That's
half a
good.
point. I think 9.5 out of 10. I'm not
All right, I'll give you a half. Yay! Right, so, well done with that.
Thank you. That's
Just to show
Yeah,
you
that's
have
all.
been paying
I
attention.
know.
That's good.
And that we're competent enough to put the show on.
Yeah, exactly. So talking to the show then, go back to the show then. Tickets.
Yeah.
How's ticket sales going?
Ticket sales are going well, yeah. So I think, we are still very much wanting to get bums on seats. So, you can get tickets online. You can either get them from King's Court Theatre's website directly,
Yep.
or you can get them from www.parodostheatre.im. So that's where you can get them as well, because we've got a link.
And Parodos is
Parodos,
Parodos.
yeah. So Parodos.
Parodos Theatre.
Parodos Theatre, yes. it is.
I am. Okie dokie. Brilliant.
And it's the 7th to the 9th of April, just to
7th
remind.
to the
7th
to the 9th.
7th to the 9th
of
yes.
April.
King's Court.
King's Court.
Yes.
Isle of
King-
Man.
At King William's College in Castletown. Yeah.
Yes, in Castle, yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're almost there. Yes. The Spotify playlist. So now, Charlie already did this
I've
when he
done
came
mine.
in with Alex last time round.
It was so hard.
So back in I think it's 2020 now, after the first lockdown, we set up our playlist, and myself and Neil King, who was the other presenter of the show at the time, we added 10 songs in each to get it started, because, who wants to listen to a playlist with 2 songs?
Yeah.
And then ever since then, every guest that's come onto the podcast has picked their own song to add onto the playlist and give us a reason why. I mean, these are all songs that either we have performed, there's something that they really mean something to us, or they're just songs that we really, really like. So looking back at the list, which is getting quite considerable now, of the people that you will know, Tony Eccles chose When I Grow Up from Matilda. Dandy Dancox chose What Baking Can Do from The Waitress. Lorcan chose If Only You Would Listen from School of Rock. And Charlie chose From Now On from The Greatest Showman. So, who wants to go first? Peter?
Yeah.
Peter, then.
I'll do this.
What's your addition and why?
My addition is because my knowledge of musical theatre is so poor. It's embarrassingly poor. And I look at this list, I think, I don't know what this is. I've actually chosen something that I just loved as a kid. It loved and terrified me in equal measure. When I was a kid, my mum gave me a double cassette of Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds musical, which is great. It's this incredible kind of prog rock, synth heavy album with singing Martians, the whole number. So I'm going to choose from that. I'm going to choose Forever Autumn. It's such a good song.
Oh, that's a really good choice.
Yeah,
Peter. Well
thank
done.
you. And I'm choosing it because it's one of my mum's favourite songs as well. And seeing as it's nearly Mother's Day, I'm going to go with that because it will make my mum very happy.
Oh.
I think Peter has won the
There you go.
podcast.
I've won the podcast. There you go. No,
I don't know. We'll have to see what Lisa's
That's a
is.
really
Yes.
good choice.
sorry, Lisa.
Marvellous. Right then, Lisa, follow that.
Yeah, I'm very similar to Peter. I don't like musicals very much at all. Very, very few musicals, and they're generally the ones I grew up watching, and over and over again on VHS, like Annie and Grease. Actually, just those two.
On constant repeat.
I've liked The Greatest Showman. That's the one that I've most recently liked. And then I went to watch Come From Away in New York when Mr. Smith took me in 2019, and I really enjoyed that one, which is unusual for me because the songs are really great. In fact, someone chose the song that I was going to choose, which is Me in the Sky.
Yes.
I think that's a beautiful one, absolutely wonderful. But I think I'm going to choose. Yeah, it's tricky. I think you haven't got Annie on this playlist, which is obviously folly. So I'm going to have to, instead of choosing, I was going to choose Welcome to the Rock from Come From Away because it's the Isle of Man and it's a really good opener. But I'm going to choose Little Girls from Annie because I've always really loved Miss Hannigan. Quite fancy playing it. I was going to choose the one that you did in Annie, Charlie, which was Easy Street, which is also a phenomenal song. It's just such a cracker. But I'm going to go with Little Girls because I do sympathise I mean, children in general. Awful thing, aren't they?
I have to just say that at least children are behind us in the studio at this time.
And not looking at all uncomfortable. Brilliant. Well, those are two wonderful additions to our playlist, and we'll get them added up straight away. So, from here then, what's next? I mean, obviously, we've still got to get much ado about nothing out the way. But
we have got, and I think probably Alex and I will be in touch soon, I think, to announce something. I don't think we're quite ready to announce it just yet.
Okie-dokie.
But we have probably got the next thing in the pipeline already that we have an idea of. And so, watch this space. I think in the next few weeks there might be some noises coming out of the woodwork from us as to what the next one's going to be. So I can probably say, I think it's safe to say, for the moment, we're sticking on a theme. I think that's probably the closest thing I can probably say.
So another one of Bill's then?
Potentially.
Excellent. Marvellous. Right, so Much Ado About Nothing then is at the King's Court Theatre from the 7th to the 9th of April, and you can get tickets from the King's Court Theatre Direct or from www.parodostheatre.im. Charlie, Peter, Lisa, thank you for coming along, and wish you all the very, very best for the show.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Speak again soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Manx Theatre Podcast with Neil Callin.
So last weekend saw Centre Stage Productions hold the auditions for their September 2022 production of Grease. The cast list has now been released, and I can tell you that in the T-Birds, we've got Jack Divers playing Danny Zuko, Casey Crane playing Kinnicky, Alex Maxwell playing Roger, Ross Angwin playing Doody, and Ben Gale playing Sonny Lattieri. In the Pink Ladies, we have Leah Carter playing Sandy, Jordan McCormack playing Betty Rizzo, we've got Megan Walker playing Marty, Grace Hudless playing Jan, and Molly Bowman playing Frenchie. Other lead roles include Charlie Williams as Johnny Casino, Sophie Lancaster as Patty Simcox, Andrew Dayton as Eugene, Holly Bradley as Cha-Cha de Gregorio. We also have David Lyons as Teen Angel, Carrie Haziel as Miss Lynch, and the podcast's very own Neil King as Vince Fontaine. So that looks to be a pretty impressive cast, and we look forward to catching up with them later in the year. Also, other news that has come to light this week is that Sam Barks will be filling in for Elaine Page on her Elaine Page on Sunday show for the next 5 weeks. Her first show was last Sunday, and she'll be on for the next 4 weeks, so let's listen in to Sam and see what she has to say. Since our last episode was recorded, the What's on Stage Theatre Awards have been presented, and Frozen, starring our very own Samantha Barks, was nominated for 12 awards, including Sam for Best Performer in a female identifying role in a musical. And Frozen picked up 7 of them. Sadly, Sam wasn't a winner on the night, but she did perform Let It Go as part of the evening's entertainment. The nominations for the Olivier Awards were also announced last week. Frozen has a couple of nominations, but the majority of the awards categories appear to be dominated by the revival of Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club Playhouse Theatre, starring Eddie Redmayne and Jessie Buckley in the lead roles, Anything Goes, starring Sutton Foster and Robert Lindsay, and Back to the Future, the musical, starring Ollie Dobson as Marty McFly and Roger Bart as Doc Brown, which, as a massive Back to the Future fan, is one show that I really, really, really need to see. So with that, we bring episode 33 to a close. Thanks once again to Charlie, Peter and Lisa for joining me on the podcast, and we wish them all the very best for Much Ado About Nothing, which is running at King's Court Theatre from the 7th to the 9th of April. If you haven't done so already, make sure to get your tickets now from the King's Court Theatre or from www.parodostheatre.im. That's Parodos Theatre.im. Remember to like and follow our social media pages to get notifications of upcoming episodes and events. Don't forget to check out our Spotify playlist by searching for Manx Theatre Podcast, all one word, under playlists. If you have any events that you'd like us to talk about or promote in a future episode, you can contact us through our social media accounts or by email to manxtheatrepodcast@gmail.com. All that remains is for me to say thanks for listening, and I hope you join me again next time on the Manx Theatre Podcast. I've been Neil Callin. Goodbye.
The Manx Theatre Podcast, taking a look behind the scenes of Manx Theatre.
And happier than actors alive for me.